Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome back to episode 3 of the Two Films Podcast. I'm your host, Jake Metzger, that guy who used to grieve in stereo, although grieving in Dolby surround sound sounds better. And my co-host this week, who's picking through the cards, and he's giddy with delight as we start our conversation about these two 80s animated classics. Ladies and gentlemen, David Reed.
Yo.
How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good to hear, David. Well, David, are you ready to talk about Disney's Dark Age? Maybe their little dark age?
Is that like the Little Ice Age?
Exactly. Yeah. Yep, it was darker than a cool night and in the middle of July without the moon. And it was darker than a freshly painted, restored jalopy. Painted black. And you know what? He was even darker than the cauldron calling the kettle black. And you know what else, David? It was darker than black. We love that anime in this household. For any and all inquiries, comments and concerns, thoughts and ideas, and what pair of films you would combine for a Two Films episode of Snarp Fangle, feel free to send them on over to snarpfanglepod@gmail.com, or you can just text Jake. All right, David, well, we gather here today on another episode of Two Films. We're going to talk about, for those uninitiated, the Two Films Podcast is where we take two different films, or similar films, depending on what they are, and we mash them together to a coherent theme and talk all kinds of details and tomfoolery that may abound in watching these two pictures, we'll say. And David, what are the two films we decided to talk about this week? What are they?
So the two films that we are discussing this week is The Last Unicorn and The Black Cauldron.
Yeah. And the theme this week, two animated dark fantasy films. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, I said animated. Okay, for a second. Just had a brain fart there. I'm like, freaking out. But yeah, two animated dark fantasy films. We wanted to do two 80s dark fantasy, and then we thought of this. We're like, yeah, that would be good too. We'll save the other one for another time. So, David, the first one I'd like to start with today is this. The Black Cauldron. The one that Disney wished time forgot. Here's the synopsis. In the land of Predane, I think that's how you say that. In the land of Predane, a young man named Terran is given the task of protecting Henwin, a magical oracular pig, who knows the location of the mystical Black Cauldron. Along with a group of misfits, we follow them as they try to beat a tyrant king to the magical item. We are treated to adventure, danger, and amazing animated backdrops as we revisit this dark fantasy kids film. Directed by Ted Berman and Richard Rich. Written by, before I go any further, this is, if you go to the IMDb, this has a slew of people. I'm talking probably about 15 to 20 people with writing credits on this film. Contributing dialogue for like the second half of the list, and then this first half is what I picked out. So the names are as follows: David Jones, Vance Gary, Ted Berman, Richard Rich, who both directed this, Al Winson, Roy Morita, Peter Young, Art Stevens, and Joe Hale. Based on the book by Lloyd Alexander. Starring Grant Bardsley, Freddie Jones, Susan Sheridan, Nigel Hawthorne, John Biner, John Huston, and the legendary John Hurt. Let me tell you a story. Budget of $44 million. Box office of the budget was $44 million. Let me just say that. And the box office of $21 million. Runtime of an hour and 20 minutes, released in the year 1985. David, what are your high-level thoughts and history with the Black Cauldron?
So I got this as the VHS tape as a Christmas present a long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Called the 90s.
I don't remember how old I was exactly, but I was a young child.
A young'un.
And yeah, so I got this as a Christmas present, and me, in this prehistoric time period, being completely uncritical of films other than, surface level assessments, I was just totally taken by the film's dark, spooky atmosphere, and just, I loved it. I watched it so many times. But yeah.
This is a nostalgic piece for Dave.
Yeah, so this definitely hits the nostalgia boxes, but like, yeah, watching this as an adult, it's like, this is a film that could have been great, and they just whiffed it.
Yeah, so for me, I always heard about this film. I remember hearing it was very hard to find a copy of this on home media. Actually, I was looking up when this was released on home media, and generally, you'd imagine the VHS would be released, maybe 6 months to a year after the film comes out, Well, I'll tell you what, David, this didn't get a home media release until 1998, 13 years after the movie came out. So that's kind of one of the reasons why people would consider this the movie that Disney wished they would forget about, basically. But we did get that VHS in 98, or excuse me, home media release. And then I don't think we got another release of that until, gosh, it must have been mid-2010s with the Blu-ray, I think, or late 2010s.
Well, there was the DVD.
Okay, there was a DVD.
Because that's what I own now is the DVD.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
The Blu-ray didn't come until way later.
Yeah, way like Disney Plus era, I think.
Yeah, the Blu-ray was only available through very, like, I didn't even know this existed, Disney Plus program that you could sign up for.
Oh, yeah, it was Disney Movies or something.
Yeah, like something Movie Club or something
Disney
like
Movie
that.
Club, that was it.
Yeah.
That was the only way I think you could get it.
And so recently I went on eBay looking for Blu-ray copies of this, and like I was looking at like $100.
Whoa, man.
For one in like
from one mediocre ass movie.
in good condition. So it was like, yeah, this is not an easy movie to track down as far as physical media is concerned. Yeah, Disney basically, from what I understand, this almost bankrupted them. It flopped so hard because they were in dire financial straits to begin with, which is part of the reason why the movie turned out the way it did. It was basically rushed and reused all sorts of animation frames from previous films and just generally done in a very shoddy and sloppy way. And then they put it out into theaters and it failed. And they almost went bankrupt, as far as, if I remember correctly.
Which is crazy when you think about it, because this is the dead center of the Dark Age, we'll say. I think it started with, like, when you go to Wikipedia, for example, I think it's listed that Robin Hood is where it starts, I guess, technically speaking, or officially, or whatever you want to say. But this was like the dead center of it, and then it ends with Little Mermaid in '89. But overall, I have no history with the film. And I always saw it in the Disney movies, like, catalog thing. Because when we would get like a new DVD for a Disney movie, it would always have that insert, the little paper that says, hey, go to DisneyMoviesRedeem.com or whatever, or redeemyourmovie.com and submit this code, and then you can build up your credit to then maybe order 2 to 3 DVD Blu-rays, And it was really interesting. And I was like, oh man, we should get some movies, man. This is crazy. And of course, you had to like pay out the nose for them, which we never end up doing. But I remember seeing the Black Cauldron listed, and always my older siblings would say, "That's the Black Cauldron! Holy cow! Hey, I think we rented that one time or something, and then we never got a hold of it again, and it was just lost for time to time, basically." But I always heard about it. Always heard people say, "Oh yeah, that wasn't that great, but you know what? I like that film." Or, "Hey, I remember watching that as a kid, and I never got to see it again," or something like that. Or, "Hey, I had the VHS, and then I didn't at one point," something like that. And then I watched it for the first time with you the other night, and it was a movie. I enjoyed it. It was cool. It's not amazing. It's not. I don't even know if it's particularly good.
No, it's not. It's not particularly good. I wouldn't say it's like an awful film.
Yeah,
it's
not
just
awful.
it's just kind of mediocre.
Yeah.
Like it's missing too much.
Mm-hmm.
Like the big problem with this film is time. It needed more time put in into the animations. It needed a script rewrite badly.
Yeah.
The story's rushed and the dialogue is terrible. It needed a bit more time in the voice acting department. Like the performances aren't awful, and the voice actors themselves seem like they're pretty good, but like they really should have coaxed better performances out of these actors. And then also the dialogue itself really sounds unpolished and just not very good. Like whoever engineered the dialogue, like mixed it, needed to try again.
Yeah, and we just watched the DVD copy. We don't have access to the Blu-ray. We didn't watch the Disney Plus copy, which I don't know if they improved anything on it from the DVD. Maybe in resolution, but I don't know about audio or anything.
Yeah, I watched it one time on Disney Plus, like a couple years ago, but I only put it on because I was babysitting Benji and it was nap time. And so
here, kid, go to sleep. Watch this.
I mean, that's just kind of like when he was younger and he'd come over here, like that's basically what we would do. We would play until like the early afternoon or so, a little bit after lunch, and then after that it was nap time, and I'd put on some kind of a movie and he'd fall asleep watching it. And so one day I do remember I was just scrolling through Disney Plus. Normally I see what he wants to watch, but he was kind of in a mood, so I was just scrolling through. I was like, oh, it's the Black Cauldron. Let's put that on. And so I did watch it on Disney Plus, but I wasn't really paying attention to it. So it's in 4K as far as I remember.
Whoa.
But I don't know if they actually did any work into like remastering it or anything.
Yeah, I'd be curious. Well, honestly, I'm not that curious after watching the movie, but I'd be interested to see what they did any different,
Yeah, unfortunately.
There's some very rough, especially with the DVD copy we were watching, there's some rough animation, like some of the cells flicker at times, especially during the beginning of the movie. There's just a bunch of weird animation mishaps, I guess you could say.
Yeah,
Like,
just
little
it's really,
glitches, I guess.
really rough around the edges.
Yeah, rough. Yeah.
I feel like this film would benefit from like a digital remaster where you go and like digitally clean up all the weird little animation bits and stuff like that. Like, I feel like it would really benefit from that.
Yeah, especially like I remember watching the 4K of Sleeping Beauty, which I own actually. And I don't know if it's a digital remaster, but man, that sucker's in 4K and my God, is it beautiful. Holy crap. And that's what the animation style at least really reminded me of. Less of Fox and the Hound, but more of Sleeping Beauty in a lot of ways, especially with the fantasy element. Even though it's definitely, you could tell it's of that 70s, 80s Disney era, prior Renaissance era, where it's very beautiful. The backdrops are gorgeous. The environments are amazing. It reminds me again a lot of the kind of style of Sleeping Beauty has a different style compared to the other animated Disney films, but maybe more between Sleeping Beauty and Sword in the Stone. I would kind of compare it to.
Yeah, I would agree
in terms
with
of
that.
like the way the environments and the backdrops are.
Yeah, like in the way everything's drawn.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
And honestly, it was probably a lot of the animators from that era doing it, even though I was reading somewhere, I think it was in Wikipedia, where they talked about how there was a power struggle between the younger animators and the older animators, or something to that extent. I don't know if that's true or not, but it seems to be like the history of this film is pretty well documented from what I was looking at.
Interesting.
Yeah. But but I kind of wanted to, speaking of Renaissance, I wanted to kind of dive into that because when you compare this film as a Disney film to the Renaissance, it's obviously going to falter because that era had so much to it, I would say. And this film specifically is lacking everything those films give you. However, comparing this to, say, of the Disney of that era or before, like Fox and the Hound, which was 81, or Robin Hood, for example, I would say that even compared to those films, which I think I like, I grew up watching as well, and I think they're all good. I just feel like Black Cauldron just kind of, it steps it down a lot. Or maybe not a lot, but a couple steps down from those films.
Yeah, this was Disney's lowest point, I think, during that period. Yeah, Robin Hood on, you can tell the quality is starting to slip. And then it kind of hits a breaking point. So the last couple of Dark Age movies, Great Mouse Detective and whatever the other one was that was after this, was it Oliver and Company?
Yes, Oliver and Company.
Yeah. Yeah, both of those, you can tell that this was kind of a low point for them because then the last two Dark Age films kind of step it up a little bit better.
Yeah.
In terms of overall quality, because this film's rough, man.
It's a rough film, man. And it's funny because like I think the biggest thing is the story and characters for me. And was I the one that talked about, was this the movie I talked about the dialogue, or was that Last Unicorn?
No, it was this one.
Okay, it was this one. Yeah. There's such, like, the story's whatever. It's very, what is going on? Why are we going from little set piece to this? And why are we in a cave with fairies? Sure, this might have been in the book, but we're not making coherent at all. What's going on? Like, it was a lot of what the heck's going on with this movie. More so when we get to the next film that we're going to talk about today. But with the Black Cauldron, I feel like just the main character, Taryn, the princess, the child predator they meet, as well as all the other characters, even Gurgi, I just couldn't give a schnot about. I couldn't give a hoot about any of these characters. And that's something I really look for in any kind of media. Video games, movies, TV, books, is characters. And man, this movie has no good characters, in my opinion. I think Gurgi has the most development, but it's very, very, very rushed.
Yeah.
What do you think, David?
Yeah, that's the thing, is like the characters are kind of just like standard archetypes. And you can do a lot with standard archetypes if you develop them in interesting ways, but this movie does not do that.
Oh.
It's just you have your young boy who longs for more adventure in his life. You have a little princess girl who feels underappreciated, and you have a weird creature with no friends, and then you have a child predator whose harp tells people when he is lying.
It breaks when he's lying. Because you know why, David?
Why is that?
Well, it's because he has a lyre.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Yes. Yeah, it's not a harp, it's a lyre. Lyre, lyre.
Yeah. He sure looks and acts like a child predator, though. I don't even remember his name. By the way, all the names are bad. It could just be it's the book.
Yeah, I think it's the book.
Man, these names suck.
Is Lloyd Alexander Welsh? I forgot to look that up. I was going to look that up. Is he Welsh?
I don't know.
I'm going to look that up because that would explain the names.
You know what this kind of reminds me of, or makes me think of, is Lloyd Alexander. You know who probably grew up reading his books? Is probably all the modern authors of Warhammer and the Witcher series. Because if he is of that region and location on Earth, I'm sure he was
Oh
big
my
up.
God, he's American.
Oh my God, never mind, guys. Never mind. Well, shout out to the Witcher books, I guess. I don't know. I hear they're great. Anyway, yeah, poor, sad Lloyd Alexander. Any relation to Jason Alexander? Is he Jason Alexander's dad?
I don't think so.
Oh man, yeah. I wrote a whole bunch of stuff. Oh, sorry. Let's get back to the Renaissance. So, even compared to other Disney films of that time, like you said, David, this is at Disney's low point, and I totally get it. Why people always told me this growing up, like, man, this movie's not a great movie, but I liked it, or something.
Oh,
like that.
okay. I was halfway correct.
Oh, okay.
So the Chronicles of Prydain, the book series that includes the Black Cauldron, according to Wikipedia, is based on Wales and inhabited by creatures and characters inspired by Welsh mythology and folklore.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, so that would explain the character names, like the child predator is named like Fluter Flam.
Yeah, Fluter Flan.
And it's got like 2 F's in each of it.
Yeah. Like, what are these names? Like, Taryn, I can get behind that. But I don't even remember the name of the girl. Let me see here. What was her name?
Alonwe.
See, I'd even, in the way it's spelled, like, I would be like, Ealonwe or whatever. So,
Yeah.
and Gurgi, it's like, okay, well, all right, guys. All right. So, let's see, where do I want to go with this? I just wrote down random thoughts as we were going through the movie. Just a bunch of weird stuff. So the characters. So we have Taryn. We're following Taryn. You have the princess. I think it's the biggest, sin of this film is it's just things we need to progress the story. So we're just going to go with it. Taryn is locked up in the dungeon below the castle. He has no hope or prayer of getting out of there. And then a sudden, just randomly, the girl shows up. And she's like, oh, I'm so-and-so or whatever. And then they kind of just move and get out of there. And then we find the sword randomly. And apparently it's a really powerful sword. And the boy holds it. We get a big, excuse me, princess vibe from this relationship I'm getting so far. From the CDI Zelda games. Like that's what reminded me of this, is the CDI Zelda games, unfortunately. Which... I don't know. I think those are worse than this film. Let's just say that. But then we get to the other character, David. We already met Gurgi at one point. He'll return here. But then we meet this old man, this older to middle-aged man. And he's locked up. And we don't know why he's locked up. Maybe for a very good reason. But I tell you what, man, this guy looks like a child predator. Not going to lie. He's weird and strange and awkward and creepy. Reminds me of some people I've met in my life. It gives off big child predator vibes, unfortunately. What do you think of? But what do you think of these characters, David? You grew up watching this film. What do you think of it watching it now?
I mean, they're really just like stock characters, like stock character archetypes, you know? Taryn's like your typical protagonist.
Hero journeyed guy.
Alonwe is just, is basically someone who is supposed to be kind of like almost like a love interest, because they're, smaller children. So obviously things don't get too romantic, but you can tell that there was supposed to be kind of like a friendship turning into love that was blossoming between them. You don't really get that because the story's so rushed, but you can tell that that's what was supposed to happen. Yeah. Gurgi's just a weird little creature for comic relief, and then Fluter Flan, the child predator, is just a weird bumbling old man who's for more comic relief. Like, they're just stock character archetypes. There's really not much to them. And
then they're thrown into just situation after situation. We go, the dungeon's the example there, but then you have the caves they fall into after they get out, and now they're in fairyland for some reason. And then, we're gonna leave the pig here because he's safe. Okay, why? Well, I mean, I guess he's safe, but you're just gonna leave him here? Yeah, we're going, bye, and we're floating up, and we're taking a ferry with us apparently. And then now we're looking for it. Now there's witches, and apparently they have the Black Cauldron. or something like that. I don't know. For me, maybe because I was writing notes, but man, there was a lot of times where I'm like, what's going on, David? What's happening? I don't know. It was very like, oh, we just have to progress the story, so this is what's happening.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. It's like they had like story moments, like, okay, the script has to hit these story moments, and however you get from point A to point B doesn't matter. Just make sure the script hits these story moments, and we're done with it. That's the vibe I get from watching this movie now as an adult.
Let's talk about the Horned King, David.
The only
dope.
bright spot in the movie.
Just what do you think of him?
Like if any villain exemplifies like the rule of cool, it would have to be the Horned King. Because despite having zero backstory, having just nothing about him in the movie that should like have the audience feel one way or another about him, just the way he's drawn, having the goat John Hurt voice him in that creepy way that he does, it's so cool.
It's the rule of cool.
The Horned King, he's a straight badass.
So dope. He's got an annoying goblin creature, but he's still cool. Yeah. Yeah, dude, all of his, like, the way that he's animated is cool. The things he does, the just the presence you feel from him on screen, it just, like, why wasn't this guy in Disney House of Villains, man? Like, come on, we had the original Fantasia Demon King, dude. This guy's basically his cousin. Like, he's so interesting and dark and creepy and just is the main reason probably why people were like, why are my children watching this in the theater? This is really disturbing. But also, another highlight of this film, though, is the backdrops, is the backgrounds, the painted backgrounds. All of it is just, even on the DVD, I thought it looked great. And I think the biggest like fault in the animation is the characters and just the way they're animated, but the setting and the background and the detail, like especially down in the dungeon and the castle when they're going through and man, just such cool design, really creepy. It reminded me a lot of course, Don Bluth, even though Don Bluth wasn't a part of this, but it reminded me a lot of like, Dragon's Lair specifically, and the backdrops in those games. And just all the details, so beautiful. But overall, I think, I don't know, there's a lot of parts in this film where I'm like, come on, man, seriously? That's what's happening? But I don't know. You gotta hold Disney to a high standard. I mean, I feel like we've gotten a lot of stinkers, especially in the last 10 years from Disney. But I feel like history repeats itself. I feel like they've been there before, and we're revisiting that era where they had some stinkers. They also had stinkers in those DVD sequel releases.
Oh, yeah.
Bambi 2, Brother Bear 2.
The made-for-TV, the basically direct-to-video / made-for-TV movies.
Yeah, that had a no budget, Kronk's New Groove, that kind of thing.
I remember
Fox and the Hound 2.
I remember I had Aladdin 2 on VHS. That was a bad movie. Yeah,
I remember we watched that a couple years ago, and I have very little memory. All I remember is that the animation isn't that good because it's TV.
Yeah.
And who plays Robin Williams or who plays the genie in that? It was
It's
who was it?
The dude who plays Homer Simpson.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you were telling me about that. He does a pretty good job, actually.
Yeah, I would say that he was pretty good.
I can't remember his name, but yeah, he was cool. Well, and then Robin Williams came back for the third film, I remember, because he settled his thing with Disney about his contract and everything. So,
Dan Castellaneta.
Yeah, Castellaneta. Yeah.
There's a few, like one too many syllables in his last name.
Kind of like the characters in this. But you know what doesn't have too many syllables in his name, David?
What?
Is the character Gurgi. Let's talk about Gurgi for a second. This is probably the most it ain't saying much, but he's the most well-developed character in the Black Cauldron.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it's like
he's the only character who has like a real arc. Taran comes kind of close, but
not really. Kind of.
Like he gets there. He doesn't get there, but like you can tell that he started to have a kind of an arc.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, Gurgi's the only character who has like a legitimate full character arc.
Yeah.
As rushed and disjointed as it was.
Yeah.
But
and I think his voice, I know it's annoying, but I like the way the voice actor does his voice. I believe his voice was John Biner.
Yeah, I don't have any
he's
problem
been in a
with
couple
Gurgi's voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to be off-putting.
Yeah.
Like you're not supposed to like him at first, and then you're supposed to, he, when he throws himself in at the end. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert, by the way.
For this, for this like 35-year-old movie.
41-year-old movie.
41. Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, this is 2026. That's crazy. Yeah, speaking of that kind of year thing, a little side tangent here. When I was growing up, I took care of my little cousin, shout out to Trevor and Katie, and they were like babies, like toddlers and little older kid at the time. And me and my little sister were always stuck watching them. And we'd always, you know what we always watched, David?
What?
On the portable DVD player was Robin Hood. And we would watch it. No joke. One time we watched it 3 times in one day when we were with them. And whenever we hung out with them, we'd always watch Robin Hood at least some point when we hung out. It's just something we did. And I got very intimate with that movie. Intimately knowledgeable about that movie, I should say. And yeah, I tell you what, that dark age was there because there's every animation is reused in that film. Dang. Two very creative extents. But with this film, I think it's kind of just lacking in most every department. Story, characters, animation, and in some ways. Oh, and what's the rotoscope scene? On top of the cliff with Gurgi and
I don't know if rotoscoping is the right term,
I don't know if rotoscoping,
but whatever.
But they're cutting them out.
Yeah, whatever process they use to cut out and isolate Gurgi and Taran as they climb the mountain to where they can see the Horn King's castle.
Yeah.
And they have this like, it almost like looks like 3D animated or.
Yeah, it's like a 3D, it's a moving background.
Yeah, so they got this like 3D looking animated like cloud background, and they've cut out Taran and Gurgi and put it against the backdrop. So I don't know if that was rotoscoping or whatever, but whatever process they used, that's what they did. And it's like you can really tell that they didn't do a good job because there's like noticeable like white borders around Taran.
Yeah, it's really rough. Very rough. And we'll get into it later during the trivia, but there's some detail about that and how this was one of the first times they use not only computer imagery, but a new thing called photo transfer process or something like that, where they took the cells and put them against this, again, a white background, but then cut them into actual footage. It's really weird, like the way they intercut it all. But we'll get to that later. But yeah, it's you could tell it's like the first time they're trying it out, and it's it's kind of like this film's almost the transition for Disney. After this, he had Great Mouse Detective, which I think I might be biased, but I think it's a great film. And then even Oliver and Company is not a bad film. It's good. It's decent. And then you get into Little Mermaid and the Renaissance and from there. But it's really interesting. This is almost like a turning point for the company itself. Like this was the thing that kind of was their come to Jesus moment, I guess you could say, looking at it in hindsight. But man, I bet it was rough during the time. You're like, man, is Disney going to are they going to survive this? Like, oh man, I mean, I'm sure people in Hollywood in the inside business were like, yo, John Musker got kicked off the project. He's working on something else, man. That dude did Fox and the Hound, bro. What's going on? Don Bluth's no longer at the company. All their talent's leaving. Ah! But yeah, it's just interesting for sure. But they turned out all right. Hopefully. I don't know. Oh, let's talk about Madame Mim's cousins, David. The witches.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I mean, that's the thing is, like, again, there's not much to say
There's not
about
much
them.
to say. Yeah.
They're just like, they're witches.
They're witches.
They're supposed to be like a secondary antagonist, and also comic relief.
Our plot device as well.
Yeah, but it's like, yeah, they're basically kind of like a Deus Ex Machina sort of thing. And it's just, they're just kind of used in the story to, you know, fill a narrative purpose, and there's not really much to them beyond that. Like there's a little bit of a humorous sequence with you know, them trying to like turn the child predator into a frog, and like the two are like trying to eat him, and then but like one is like in love with him and keeps turning him back into a man, and you know,
it was like
cuddling with him.
It's like the opposite of the three fairy godmothers in Sleeping Beauty, but it's the opposite.
Yeah, so
It's
that
like,
was
this dynamic could work, but I don't think it was well utilized.
Yeah, so it was kind of humorous,
especially with the big witch going after the child predator. I'm like, oh, maybe she could fix him. You know, maybe some good could come to this man. And he's like, no, get away from me. It's like, oh yeah, we know you're a child predator now.
Yeah, so it was kind of humorous, but it's like it comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And then after that one scene, they're just straight up used as a Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah.
Like out of nowhere too.
Yeah.
It's just another example of like this movie needed more time and development for it to like actually work.
Yeah, it just needed a little bit more of that TLC. A good another 20 minutes, I would say, of development. Like, I think not even 10 to 15. Give me 20 to 25 more. Because there's a lot in this film. I mean, we have the whole army of the dead. We have the goons that are working for the king that run away at the end as well. By the way, the army of the dead, dope. Holy crap. You could tell that. Oh, wait, this is 85. This would be after Evil Dead. Right? No? When did Evil Dead come out?
I don't remember.
I think it was early 80s. So this, man, it looked cool. And maybe they even got inspiration or vice versa for Sam Raimi. I don't know, but man, it looked cool. The way they're animated, and also all the little effects they do with the like bubbling of the cauldron, the smoke effects, all these little things. I was reading about it earlier, and it reminded me of those effects where it's real smoke filmed. It's all these other things that are filmed, and they're plates that they'll put in front of the cells. And it's pretty dope. And that's what it reminded me of when we were first watching it. And then to find out that was actually the method, it was pretty cool. So, well, I don't know about you, David, but let's get into the trivia.
Yes.
If you don't mind. All right. Now, preface, this is IMDb trivia with maybe some stuff taken from other sources. But take it with a grain of salt. You can't always trust everything you say. I saw one thing on The Last Unicorn trivia that said The Last Unicorn is a very underrated film, blah, 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 blah. And people like it. And it's like, that's not trivia, dude. That's just your opinion. Get out of here.
Also, it's not true. The Last Unicorn is not underrated. If anything, it's overrated. But we'll get into that.
We'll get to that. All right, first one up here. All right. According to Ollie Johnston, it was he and Frank Thomas who, in 1971, convinced Walt Disney Productions to produce the movie adaptation of Lloyd Alexander's widely acclaimed epic high fantasy book series, The Chronicles of, what's the word?
Prydain.
Prydain. Thank you, David. As fans of the book series, the two animators hoped if this movie would be done properly, it might be as good as Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Those guys, by the way, Ollie Johnston and Frank Thomas, did the Charlie Brown cartoons. Oh. And they were wanting to do an adaptation of that book.
Interesting.
Disney beat them to it. Number two, the movie is loosely based upon the first two books of the Prydain Chronicles. And that's about it. Oh yeah, Mythology of Ancient Wales. There you go. All right, number three, the management team. This is a big behind-the-scenes stuff here. The management team at Walt Disney Productions changed during post-production when Jeffrey Katzenberg, newly installed chairman of the Walt Disney Studios Motion Picture Division, screened the nearly completed movie. He was appalled by its darkness and graphic nature. He suggested editing the movie, but animated film movies are typically not edited in post-production. Excuse me, the same way live action movies are. When producer Joel Hale protested, Katzenberg had the movie brought into an edit bay and he started editing it. Michael Eisner, however, newly CEO and chairman of Walt Disney Productions, called Katzenberg into the editing room and convinced him to stop, though he did what Eisner insisted. Katzenberg requested the movie be modified, and a compromise was reached. Katzenberg then delayed its scheduled Christmas '84 to release in July of '85, so the film could be reworked. Yeah, it's pretty obvious that. I remember when you were telling me this, David, that there was a lot cut from this film. Like, you could tell. A lot that was done, potentially, a lot of development hell that this went through, and you could tell it on the screen. It's really kind of I don't know, David, kind of a pulled together production at like the last minute, basically. I mean, to rework it took them, another 8 to 10 months? Like, or 7 to 8 months or something like that. Like, that's kind of rough, especially when it's all done. It's nearly done. And now you got to rework. They reworked it all. And I don't know if it was for the better. That's the thing with a lot of producers and stuff like that. You don't know, especially in this context, in this situation, if it was, and the trivia says because of the darkness and stuff. But what if genuinely there's a lot of stuff that needed to be reworked and Eisner was like, or Katzenberg was like, we need to get this reworked because this is a disaster. I think either way you look at it, whether he was in the right or the animators were in the right or whatever, Joel Hale, for example, whoever was in the right, it was a kind of an S show altogether anyway.
Yeah, whoever was in the right in this dispute, they're obviously the ones who didn't get their way.
Yeah, maybe. We don't know, but man, we got what we got, so. All right, next one. The version of the movie released to theaters omitted about 10 to 12 minutes of fully animated footage, including extended scenes of Taran and his friends fighting their way out of the castle, and multiple instances of extended dialogue from
Fluter
Flam. Thank you, David. The most well-known deleted scene, due to a clumsy jump it left in the soundtrack, and several cells of the infamous scene appearing online, is that of a man being mauled by one of the Cauldron-born, which causes him to form horrifically detailed lacerations and boils before he rots away to become one of the Cauldron-born. Other deleted scenes, an opening scene with the Horn King riding on a horse near a village. Hello, Ocarina of Time. Ocarina of Time. One of the Gwynthyantes, G-W-Y. I think it's one of the henchmen. One of the henchmen cutting Taran's lip as he attempts to run after Henwin, and the heroes attempt to destroy the Black Cauldron once receiving it from the witches. Man, I want to see that scene of that. I need to Google that now. That dude getting boils and stuff in a Disney movie? Hell yeah, brother. That sounds dope and horrifying. I mean, this movie's already really dark.
Yeah.
Man.
But I mean, to be honest, like, I feel like if they really did cut out parts of the film because it was quote unquote too dark, they were really shooting themselves in the foot because, like, this film's dark atmosphere is basically its biggest strength.
It definitely differentiates it.
Yeah, it just makes it, like, it makes it stand out. Like,
well, compared to today or compared to that time?
Yeah, for the time period.
Wasn't there a lot of dark stuff that released? I mean, you had The Last Unicorn, for example.
Yeah, but none of it really looks like the Black Cauldron. And also, no other Disney film looks like the Black Cauldron.
Yeah, I'll give you that. It does, compared to the rest of Disney's filmography, in terms of the animation department, this does stray further away from that. And it does stand out because of it. I don't know. I'm just thinking about the other stuff at the time that Bluth was making. And I don't know. There's other films I've never heard of called like The Plagues and stuff like that were animated around this time. And I'm like, what? These were like other dark films. Apparently this and The Last Unicorn were like the more darker of those examples, though.
I feel like this movie would have benefited from a PG-13 rating, but I don't think it existed in this time period.
No, it was G when it came out, and I think it's later mentioned, but I think it did get renamed at some point. So, okay, let's continue on here. Lloyd Alexander's reaction to the film, that while it bore little resemblance to his books, he still thought it was a quality story in its own right. He also said that he hoped that the movie would inspire viewers to read his original books. Alrighty then. Continuing on, Walt Disney Animation Studios' first film since Lady and the Tramp without any involvement from Don Bluth, following his departure from the studio to form his own studio and produce his own films. All right, next one. The first Disney movie to feature John Hurt. He wouldn't work on another Disney film until... David, do you want to guess what it is?
No clue.
I'll give you a hint. It's animated.
Wow, you're really narrowing the playing field here.
Okay, Disney Renaissance era.
Oh, I'm trying to think. I don't
like the years. The time frame is 1997 to 2001. David.
Yeah, John Hurt as a Disney character isn't. I'm sure I know what it is, but it's not coming to me right now.
I don't think you know what it is. You ready? The Tigger movie, released in 2000.
Who did he play?
I have no idea.
What?
Apparently, he was in the Tigger movie.
I mean, I did watch the Tigger movie.
Yeah, same here. Was he like one of the older Tiggers? Like that's at the end or something? John Hurt as a Tigger. Man, this world's weird.
I'm gonna look that up because I don't. I remember seeing that movie, and I don't.
Yeah. While you look that up, let me get this one real quick. This is the second movie, by the way, to feature Sir John Hurt and Freddie Jones. The first being The Elephant Man in 1980. John Hurt also previously worked with Nigel Hawthorne, who are both also in The Black Cauldron, and they previously worked together in Watership Down and The Plague Dogs.
Oh, John Hurt was the narrator in the film.
Oh, come on, Disney, give him Tigger, Grandpa Tigger. He should have played old, the narrator.
I mean, that
makes sense.
Yeah, that would be his strength.
Yeah.
For, that type of film.
Yeah. All right, next one. Famed animator John Musker was at one point in charge of the direction of The Black Cauldron and was then removed from the project due to creative differences, as reported. He went on to start production afterward on The Great Mouse Detective within Disney Animation, along with Ron Clements, who both also went on to do a lot of the Renaissance era. The next one. The red-headed henchman who shakes Creeper and yells, "More women!" is a caricature of animator Phil Nibelink, who also voiced that character and yelled, "More women."
Oh my God. What a strange detail.
What a strange piece right there. All right, next one. Ralph Bakshi was approached to be involved with this movie in 1979 after the success of Wizards in 77 and his animated adaptation of The Lord of the Rings in 78. He turned it down, believing his style is far too mature for a Disney movie for family entertainment. All right, next one. This was the first and last movie since The Jungle Book where the old multi-pan cameras were brought briefly out of retirement, with a few improvements this time. New technologies such as computer graphics imagery, CGI, now available to all studios, have had multi-plane photography obsolete. Kind of cool they busted out the old technology, though, for this one. All right, last two here. It's a little long, but here we go. This movie is notable for being the first full-length Disney animated movie to incorporate computer graphics CGI. In its animation for major elements, the CGI was utilized for a lot of special effects, which included the bubbles, a boat, a floating orb of light, the cauldron, the realistic flames seen near the end of the film, and the boat that Taran and his friends used to escape the castle. So there's a lot more examples they list here, but they go on to explain that in Great Mouse Detective, I believe it was Joel Hale saw what was being used in this film in Black Cauldron, and so he took that and he then went and added a bunch of that to the Great Mouse Detective. And the fact, I think it was I think it was Musker who saw that as well, and he said, "Okay, we need to make a full sequence of CGI as the background and have the people in them because this works." Yeah, it's really shoddy in this Black Cauldron, but it works. And man, the jump from Black Cauldron, you have the characters against CGI or against, live action frames or whatever, to then incorporate that into the Great Mouse Detective. It's like going from the alpha version of this technology that they were doing to like the beta or like almost final version. Like it was, or I guess the beta would be Great Mouse Detective, and then the final version would be like the Renaissance era, like Little Mermaid. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how this was kind of like the test bed for technology that would define the next films in Disney's Renaissance era.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of interesting how despite being at an absolute low point, they were still trying to do new things with production.
Yeah. And the fact that they didn't cut that stuff out either, because that was an expensive thing they could have cut out, but they kept it in there anyway. So pretty cool. All right, last one for you guys. A technological breakthrough in this movie was developed of the APT, animation photo transfer process. The major change in the studio's method of transferring the artist's drawings to a cell. Since Xerox copying replaced hand inking over 20 years earlier, the APT greatly improved the quality of the animator's art. Dave Spencer was awarded an Academy Scientific and Technical Achievement Award for his development of the APT process because of this film. Interesting. All right, that's the last one I got for you, David. What's our final thoughts on the Black Cauldron?
It could have been so much more, but they flubbed it.
Yeah. Gurgi, why did you have to come back alive? Come on, man. You serious? Come on, man.
Yeah,
Just stay dead.
With how dark this film was, can you imagine if it ended with
just
Gurgi
ends
just
with them
dead?
kissing and walking away with the child predator? Yeah, that's a dark ending.
Like, this is like, I mean, think about it. Blade Runner from the same era had to have a happy ending, put in at the end for the theatrical release.
You're right, man.
So can you imagine if a Disney film that's already darker than any other Disney film had not even a sad ending, just a bittersweet ending with Gurgi staying dead? Oh man, parents would have been up in arms.
Yeah.
They're like, "You're corrupting our children." Ah!
I mean, weren't they already saying that because of Satanic Panic and stuff?
Well,
like
yeah,
that?
probably.
Yeah,
but
yeah, this would have been added to the list.
Their fervor would have
Disney would have never made it out alive. Yeah, for me, again, I think the dialogue is the weakest part of this film, unfortunately. The storytelling, in your words, David, you said hollow when we were watching it, and I agree. Hollow. I just think it's the character writing that really just is the biggest turd here. The dialogue, the character interactions, it's just, especially in the fairy cave, I'm like, what are we doing? It just, the interactions and the way they're written is so poor and just feels like, okay, we just need to get it done. And again, the performances, I think, especially in this next one, but I feel like if they had a far better coach director or a voice director, they could have gotten way better performances out of these people. But also, not a whole lot of these people are notable, except for some of the legacy talent that is in this film. Yeah, I think it's a well-made animated romp filled with mediocre characters and dialogue, although yet amazing artwork, especially with the Horned King. Holy crap. And a story that tries its best but lacks any emotional depth and care, in my opinion. But yeah, that's the Black Cauldron. Not an underrated classic, just a whatever, I guess. I don't know. I think it's there.
It's an interesting film.
I think it's a good one to show up and coming animators of what not to do.
Yeah, it's just an interesting film given its history.
Yeah, it's fascinating to say the least.
It's very intriguing, like all the things that went on behind the scenes, and just like Disney trying so hard to forget that it ever happened and people just not forgetting.
Yeah, dude, even in the era where there's no internet, man, they never forgot. They never forgot, David. But you know what people also never forgot, David? Are you ready for the last unicorn?
Oh, God.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the last unicorn. Here's what it's about, ladies and gentlemen. Friendship is magic, as we follow the unfortunate final living member of the unicorn species, along with a group of misfits as they search for others of her kind while being chased by a giant mystical spiritual Red Bull. Directed by Jules Bass and Arthur Rankin Jr. Written by Peter S. Beagle and Walter White. Shout out to you, Jackson. Based on the book by Peter S. Beagle. Starring Mia Farrow, Alan Arkin, Tammy Grimes, Jeff Bridges, Renee Auberjonois, Robert Klein, Angela Lansbury, and GOAT Christopher Lee. With a budget of roughly $4 million and a box office of a whopping $6.5 million. With a runtime of an hour, roughly 32 minutes, and recently released in the year 1982, David. What are our thoughts of The Last Unicorn?
I said this when we were watching it, and I stand by it. This movie has the opposite problem of The Black Cauldron.
What would that be, David?
This movie is like completely overcooked in every area.
Overdone.
It's just a mishmash of incomprehensible garbage that the filmmakers just stuffed in there. It's like, we want to do this, and we want to do this, and we want to do this, and the story's going to have this, and we're going to have this kind of character, and we're just all going to mash it in there.
Jewish wizards and all.
Oh, yeah.
You sounded really disappointed from that one. Yeah, this was the movie I grew up hearing so much about. Oh, it's an animated classic. Very dark, but that makes it cool. And man, I always heard this from people. Oh yeah, I grew up watching that movie. I really liked that movie growing up. And I also heard people say, hey, you can't watch it because, at least in my household, they actually say spells in it. So just like Harry Potter, you can't watch it, Jake. So sucks to be you. I remember watching this vividly, though, on that DVD copy that we borrowed from my sister Chelsea. Shout out to you, Chelsea. Which we didn't end up watching because it was in full screen, and the quality was horrible. There was white lines on the top of the frame. It was bad. So we streamed it on Plex instead. And you know what commercial we got on there, ladies and gentlemen, when we streamed it on Plex? My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic. And we had one more commercial about some random girly doll.
It was like mermaids or something.
Yeah, mermaids, some LOLs or whatever. Anyway. But yeah, I watched this all the way through for the first time last night, David, with you, and you've never seen it.
No, never.
At all. So there's no nostalgia for you. I remember briefly walking into my sister's room, and they were in the forest. I think it was after the Robin Hood scene. And I watched it all the way until she turned into a human and we're in the castle, and that's when I stopped. I walked away because I wasn't allowed to watch it. So I snuck in and watched a little bit. There's no nostalgia for this film for me at all. There's a lot of nostalgia for my sisters. I was always heard, oh man, that movie, that's a good ass movie. I really like That Last Unicorn. That's a creepy ass movie. As a kid, you feel like you got away with murder watching that movie. Oh, let me tell you. And I tell you what, you might as well get caught with murder watching this movie, because this movie's kind of ass, David. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
I
feel like it's so funny, like, that people like think this was like, ooh, dark and edgy. Other than the saggy harpy titties, this movie's not that dark.
Yeah, that being the only example. This movie is dark, I would say. It's so bizarre how it starts, though. Fairyland, man. We got a talking butterfly who's singing. It feels like I'm watching some knockoff Christian cartoon with random singing from a mediocre singer, even though this guy does sound somewhat okay. But man, it's like, okay, we're in fairyland. Interesting. Oh, those guys see the unicorn. In respectful manner, they run away because they know it's the last unicorn. And then we get this weird song intro from the group America.
Is that who did the music?
That's who did the music, yeah.
The whole movie or just that song?
The songs. They did the songs.
Oh God, I like them. Why did I have to know this terrible knowledge?
They literally say it in the text in the opening credits, David.
I must have missed that.
Okay.
Or my brain just blocked it out because I couldn't bear the knowledge of a group that I actually enjoy making this terrible, terrible music.
Yeah, it's like in the last unicorn. It's like, oh my God, what am I listening to? And God bless Rankin Bass, Arthur and Jules. You guys did all you could, but this is a weird ass movie and it's not better for it. I think it's somewhat appealing and intriguing because of how strange it is. Like, there's something about this film, particularly how bizarre it's animated and the character design specifically, I don't think it's better for it, but it's very hard not to watch it. Especially them danging tiggle bitties on that harpy. Oh my God, just get away from me. But like, this sucker was rated G when it came out. And all this darkness and nudity, that's not a lot. But this was rated G. Come on, man. Come on, man. And I wrote down all of the quotes David said while we were watching this film. There's quite a bit of them, and we'll get to them. But overall, this film left me immensely disappointed. It also had one of those endings that's like, we gotta be a good ending, because that's how it is, which is fine. But again, I think a lot of the character work's very weak. Their personalities are a lot better than Black Cauldron, I'll give you that. And they're more developed. But
they're just goofy.
They're just goofy, man. It's like Tim Burton before Tim Burton.
It's like in Cauldron, the characters are just generic and underdeveloped. And here, they're just so goofy, you can't take them seriously.
And I feel like your overcooked description is very fitting, especially with the voice acting. Alan Arkin, it's so cool that he's young and he's in this role as the Jewish wizard. And man, does he sound Jewish, like a Jew wizard. But man, holy crap. Could you have him tone it down a little bit? Because he comes off like a nutcase. And maybe that's just part of his character. But there's some of the lines I'm like, yo, why? Why are you saying it that way, man? Come on, man. Come on, man. Mia Farrow's great, actually. I think she's probably the best performance besides Christopher Lee in this. Jeff Bridges is fine. Again, I think all the voice actors are great. But there's some stinkers in here where I'm like, and the music doesn't help. Like, the songs do not help. And the song breaks. Holy cow, dude. Really throw it off. This film's weird, man. It's just weird. Really gave me some weird vibes, David. I can't shake them. And look, I'm a fan of cheesy 80s songs, David. Man, I'll listen to them. I'll be like, oh yeah. Oh, you know what? Yeah, it's just another Lost Lover song. And it's cheesy, and you got that kick drum, and you got them cymbals, and you got that keyboard, and oh, it's nasty, and it bleeds, it makes your ears bleed. I love cheesy 80s stuff. But there's good cheesy 80s, and there's bad cheesy 80s. And this is bad cheesy 80s, man.
All I know is if America did the music for this film, they must have been in a low point.
Yeah, they must have took any kind of check they could.
Because they've put out some bangers. Like, you've heard Horse with No Name, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's those guys?
Yes.
Oh, what the heck?
Yeah.
Oh my God. What's wrong with you guys? America? What's wrong with you? Let's put that on a t-shirt. You know what? And again, cheesy 80s stuff. As I've grown older, David, I have a fancy for the cheesy 80s, but as I've grown older, I've become more aware of bullshit. And the soundtrack is exactly what those songs are. It's bad, David. And also, I don't know. What, David, save me. I'm rambling at this point. What do you got for me?
Yeah, the music is just so, like, Overcooked definitely applies to the music in this film. It's just, like, everything is so overwrought with, like, fake, terrible emotion.
Yep.
And, like,
and they don't earn anything.
Like, the melodies sound like they just came up with them, like, in, like, half a second.
Yep.
They were just improvising, and then whatever came out of their mouths, they're like, got that, yeah, print that, we're going with it.
Are you talking about just the music right now? Or are you talking about the overall? Yeah, the music, dude, the lyrics are horrible. Like, The Last Unicorn, the main song of the film, he uses the word last in the last verse, like, 10 times. Like, holy crap. Come on, man. Come on,
how
man.
else would you know that it's the last
unicorn? Oh, man. So, yeah, we were off to a great start. We had really cheesy 80s songs that were just making our ears bleed. We swapped from a full screen DVD to stream it, and we got a My Little Pony ad. We were off to the races, David. But let me tell you, this simp of a butterfly is just the worst, man. He's bad, David. But anyway, let's talk about story though. It's based off a book. I never read the book. I think we had it in the house at some point. I think it's fine. I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, the story's okay.
No, it's fine.
It's just how they executed it.
Yeah, and all these bumbling idiots that we were following. And some of the sequences too, and the way they act out, I'm like, what? If I thought the Black Cauldron had me going, what's going on, man? This film had me really saying, what's going on, man? Like, we're in the woods randomly, and there's this chick who's making dinner for everybody, and he's like, I hate it. Robin Hood ain't real. He ain't real in my world. And then the wizard pulls a trick on him and makes Robin Hood a ghost with his merry men. And everybody's like, holy shit, that's fried tuck, boy. As they walk through the woods, and all that guy's men went off and ran after the merry men ghosts. And Molly, the chick that was making all the dinner, isn't his wife, isn't anybody's wife. She's just a chick making dinner because she sticks with the wizard the whole time. Oh, and let's not even forget about the giant tiggle bitty tree, David.
Oh yeah.
What were your thoughts on when that happened?
I was questioning my own sanity when that happened. I was like, is this really somebody had a thought?
Yep.
Somebody had a thought that this was going to happen.
Yep.
And they made it happen exactly that way. And nobody stepped in and said, no, you can't do that. Not only is it inappropriate, but it's also just bad.
I feel like you're describing the way you would describe the songs of this film, David. Which also apply, because what the heck? Why is this tree alive? It's kind of funny when you think about it. Rankin Bass had some. Never mind. I was going to say Don Bluth. This is more like a Don Bluth kind of move, where like there's this random chick who's like super busty or whatever, like Dragon's Lair, for example. But man, it was like weird, which is fine. It could be. I don't know where to go. I don't know where to go, David.
One thing I want to talk about is the characters here are just like, so in any movie, you kind of want like the audience to sympathize with your characters. Yeah. Whoever your main cast is, you want, even if they're unlikable at first, you want to develop them in such a way that the audience has sympathy for them and so gets attached to them. And this is where the drama and the tension in the film come from, is us rooting for the characters. And I basically stole that from Red Letter Media's review of The Phantom Menace. But it's true. It's true.
It's true.
It's absolutely true. And Black Cauldron failed because it just left us with boring stock character archetypes that they didn't develop at all. And this one just makes their characters bizarre and unlikable in every single way.
Yep.
Like, I just can't wrap my head around the decision-making process that led to the creation of these characters, especially Schmendrick.
Oh my God.
Like,
this wizard.
I'm sorry, but in what universe are you making this supposedly family-friendly animated film and you think a good character is a Jewish sorcerer named Schmendrick who sounds like a more monotone Jerry Seinfeld?
Yeah, what did I write? It was a mix. We came up with, it's a mix between Jerry Seinfeld. Oh, yeah, Adam Sandler. A touch of Adam Sandler in there, basically. Like Adam Sandler's Dracula from Hotel Transylvania. Like Alan Arkin, I don't know what you were thinking, man. I don't know what the voice direction was on this, man, because, man, it was weird. So far, our critiques are objectively bad music. Let's just say that. The music is objectively bad. The weirdness factor is, I think, doesn't add anything to this film. It just makes it more peculiar, but not in a good way. The story also, I think, it doesn't, I don't know how to describe it. It's not like I guess I would say it's bad. I don't know, David. I feel like we're just here. It's a book. It's a children's book. So it's like we have to follow. And apparently this was really, really loyal to the book, especially with Christopher Lee. There's a thing I'll say later, but Christopher Lee just like with Lord of the Rings, brought his film to the recording booth, or brought his book his copy of the book to the recording booth for The Last Unicorn. And he did the same on Lord of the Rings. He brought his copies of the Lord of the Rings on set when they were filming. Like, he was dedicated to this thing. And he was a big fan of the book. Apparently Jeff Bridges was as well. But my God, dude, there's just some weird ass stuff, man. We're making, if I may, David, are you ready for some of your quotes? I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, you're not ready for some of these quotes. And you know what? If we offend anybody, that's just too bad. That's just too bad. All right, you ready? You ready, David? All right, I got the first one here. The Red Bull. What is the Red Bull? It's an energy drink. All right, now, not a strong start, but here we go. Schmendrick, our favorite Jewish wizard. I attack your credit score directly. I forgot that I said that. The next one. This seems to have the opposite problem of Black Cauldron. This writing is overcooked. Har har, I used my Jew trickery on them. Let's not do that. It's better not seen. Is that Calamity Ganon? It is Calamity Ganon. Now, she's just a pile of hair. Yeah, the music in this movie is not good. Damn, girl, are you a unicorn? Because I'm horny. Oh, God, they're both singing. All right, I only have two left. The music is triumphant, but I don't know what's going on. And the last one from David, he says, oh, he died before he could finish the title of the movie. Referring to Christopher Lee. All right, that's all I got for you. Woo! By the way, Christopher Lee is awesome in this film.
Oh, yeah, he's good.
So dope. His performance is the best out of the film. Him and Angela Lansbury, man, bring it. And holy crap, dude.
I like his character design.
Yeah.
Too. I feel like it's almost like a precursor to the style of art that almost like Jendi Tartovsky.
Yeah, like the castle even reminds me. The design of the castle, it reminded me something from like Elder Scrolls, like Morrowind, for example. Like it's straight out of Morrowind. And there's some cool design stuff too, especially when you get to the skull and stuff like that. But sorry, continue on.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to say is just his look is really cool. And it reminds me of kind of like the Tartovsky Clone Wars series. Kind of reminds me of some of the characters in that. So I was like, wow, that's kind of awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, and by the way, the best part of this film is the animation. I think the character animation is very strange. But that being said, the backdrops are gorgeous. When we stream this, first off, Plex is super fast because not a whole lot of people are watching it. But holy crap, dude, this remaster is super good. It's very crisp. Excuse me. I don't know. I'm sure this is a digital remaster, but man, does it look good.
Yeah, the difference between the Plex version and
The
the
DVD.
DVD was, oh my God, night and day.
Night and day. And you know what? There might be some issues with, there's probably some critics out there who say, well, when they remastered it, they lost the film grain or something like that. But you know what? This looks pretty dang good. Like, I kind of prefer this. I mean, maybe, yeah, if there was film grain, sure. But like, I don't think I'm going to break the film apart just because of that.
Yeah, I mean,
It's gorgeous.
like the film grain, like, sure, like, yes, preserve the film grain if you can. But if the film grain is hidden beneath a bunch of crap because of your terrible DVD transfer, then it's not really adding that much to the film now, is it?
David, I found one more quote I forgot to say. You ready? Special Jew powers. Jesus turned water into wine. How hard can it be?
Oh my God. I forgot that I said that.
Oh, that was the best one. I think.
I was just, man.
Oh, man. Oh,
I was in a weird state of mind watching this film.
I got home from work. I'm like, hey, you ready to watch this? And yeah, let's do it. Man, wow, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun watching it with you. Let's be real. Let's see. Mommy Fortuna, the castle. The skull was cool. I like the skull a lot. So creepy. We totally forgot to mention that this was done by one of the animation studios that also worked on Nausicaa Valley of the Wind. That eventually turned into Studio Ghibli.
Yes.
Hayao
So
Miyazaki and all of them.
yeah. So the animation was done by the Japanese studio Topcraft, who Miyazaki and the other two guys that founded Studio Ghibli worked for.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, if you watch the credits, there's some names that are, like, if you're familiar with the Studio Ghibli films, there's quite a few names in the credits, especially in the end, that you'd be very familiar with.
And as far as I remember, the guy who was like the head of Topcraft at the time, I think later got hired on to Studio Ghibli by Miyazaki. So
yeah, they did a good job, and especially with like the skeleton and stuff, like super dope. Apparently it was, and I'll read it later, but apparently it was their idea to have, because in the book it's just a skull, and he's called the Skull, but they gave him the idea to have hands and whatnot, and it was a creative choice they implemented.
Interesting.
Yeah. The whole thing with the bull is whatever. This is a fantasy kids film, sure. I can't knock it for that, but it's just the way the film delivers.
It's just kind of out of left field.
It's out of left field.
Like, it's a cool concept.
Yeah.
Like, you learn that the king is somehow, like,
spoilers,
controlling the Red Bull, or at the very least, the Red Bull is just following his commands somehow, some way, and you don't know why. And that's all you get.
That's all you get. Yep.
It's
also, by the way, Christopher Lee's character, he looks like Lord Elrond from the Hobbit cartoon. Like, it's the same kind of character design. By the way, I love the Rankin Bass character design. I think it's so peculiar and strange, but it just works for me. Except for Smedrick, because he's just bizarre. I don't like him. His weird rounded face in some of the shots look bizarre. I don't get it.
Did they try to make him look like a Jew? Like,
I don't know, man.
That's the only thing I can think of. Did they try to make him look like some kind of like Jewish caricature or something?
Yeah, he's working for a gypsy lady, Mommy Fortuna. I think I had a bowl of Mommy Fortunas for breakfast.
And also his name is Schmendrick.
Yes, Schmendrick. Jew powers. That's all I pretty much have here. Oh, what did I write about Mommy Fortuna? Oh, she looks like a Crash Bandicoot villain.
Yeah, that's right. You did say that. She's wearing a log on her head.
Oh, yeah. And when the tree, David, I said, wait, are those its boobs or is that its butt? Man, that was disturbing. Okay,
Yeah.
let's get a move on here. Gobbledygook. Let's get through this trivia here. All right, you ready, David? Let's proceed. Oh man, I totally screwed up, David.
What?
So that Peanuts trivia I said it earlier was for this film.
Oh, okay.
So my bad. It wasn't. Here we go. Lee Mendelson and Bill Melendez, animators most famous for bringing the Peanuts comic strips to life in the television specials and the films, originally approached author Peter S. Beagle with the idea of doing an animated version of his novel, but the project never got going. According to Beagle, the wife of one of the duo took him aside and advised him not to let them do the project as they hadn't done anything like it before and felt they wouldn't do the source material justice. Les Goldman, a friend of Beagle, also expressed an interest in adapting the novel. That's kind of cool. Just random background stuff. Again, it's IMDb trivia. Take it with a grain of salt. All right, second one. When negotiating for the making of this film, author Peter S. Beagle told associate producer Michael Chase Walker that he specifically didn't want to work with the Rankin Bass Company as he had hated their adaptation of The Hobbit in 1977 and their famous Christmas Christmas special such as Frosty the Snowman. When Walker told Beagle that they had signed a deal, he was horrified and threatened to pull out of the project, but eventually relented as they were the only major animation studio willing to do it. Despite his skepticism, when Beagle met with Jules Bass and Arthur Rankin Jr. and liked their idea and was happy they were determined to be faithful to the novel, he agreed to work with them.
Interesting.
So cool. Continuing on, Peter S. Beagle admitted that he didn't know how to feel about the film for quite some time. He had gone in, bracing himself for the worst, but had been relieved that it wasn't bad. He admits...
I'm going to have to disagree with that.
He admits that it wasn't until years later, after many viewings, that it struck him that the film was, in his words, a classic. Oh boy. All right, next. In 2010, co-director Jules Bass revealed that Jeff Bridges called him out of the blue, volunteered to do the film for free as the novel was one of his favorite books, and recommended his friend Jimmy Webb for the soundtrack.
So Jeff Bridges wanted to do this film simply out of the goodness of his heart because he was so attached to the book and couldn't give a more inspired performance? What?
Yeah, he's not that great in this. I like the way his voice sounds, but again, I think it's the direction here. Jimmy Webb, speaking of him, the film's beloved soundtrack by Jimmy Webb and America was composed before any animation was done. Akin to how animation worked with music in classic Disney and Looney Tune cartoons, where the animators would draw to the music. Oh my God. Imagine having to listen to the songs as you're animating the film. Oh. All right, next one. Despite being rated G by the MPA, female nudity is seen briefly. Additionally, swearing and substance use was also found in this film. 2 years later, these were taken out of the G-rated version, but were kept in a PG-rated version.
See, that's the thing, is this film is not that dark. Okay, all those things that you mentioned are like
say, damn.
Like, none of them are that bad. Just the only two really bad things are the harpy titties and the weird tree.
Yeah.
Like, everything else is completely fine. I don't get why people say this is a dark film. It's not a dark film.
Maybe if you were 3, it is. But, you know.
I grew up watching the Black Cauldron.
Dude, I will say that is darker than this film. Like, hands down, the Horned King is horrifying. What, a bowl that's red with flames? Who child doesn't want to be around that thing? All right, continuing on. The animation for this movie was done by the Japanese studio Topcraft. There you go, David. Who also animated Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. And that was 84. That was a year before Black Cauldron, too. So, dang. But we didn't get it till way later. All right, number 8. According to the making of feature on the Shout Factory Blu-ray, the cat flipping over his eye patch to reveal he doesn't actually need it wasn't in the script and was improvised by one of the Japanese animators.
Huh.
All right.
I mean, the fact that the cat was even in there to begin with.
Yeah, that was weird. I'm like, why is this cat in here? And he's talking. This makes no sense. It kind of feels like a Ghibli movie, I guess, in some cases. Anyway. All right. According to the, I already read that. Let's see. What's her name? Lady Amathea. Is that how you say it?
I think it was like Amalthea or something.
Amathea. Okay, that makes sense.
I think it was Amalthea.
Okay. Lady Amalthea's name comes from Greek mythology. When young Zeus was hidden from his father, Kronos, he was fed milk from the goat named Amathea. All right. Next one. The riddle that befuddles Rook, the troll dude in the beginning with Mommy Fortuna, that guy. Why is a raven like a writing desk? Is the famous unanswered riddle asked by the Mad Hatter in Alice's Adventures in Wonderland.
What an interesting reference.
Yeah. Huh. Good job, voice director, on that part. But all the other stuff, eh. All right. Sir Christopher Lee, King Haggard, showed up for the recording sessions armed with his own copy of the book, with several places marked to indicate things that he must not, in his opinion, be omitted. This is similar to his behavior on Lord of the Rings and its sequels, or Lord of the Rings, and in which he also showed up on set with his copy of the books.
I mean, with that one too, it was really funny. It was really kind of interesting too, because on Lord of the Rings, he was the only actor he was actually the only one involved in the production itself who had ever actually personally met Tolkien.
Yeah.
So like that was dope that he got to do that.
Christopher Lee, man. If they were ever to do a biopic about him, man, they would have to do an amazing, like Peter Jackson would have to direct it himself, because that dude lived a crazy life. You talking MI6, baby? We're talking, he was James Bond, man. He was in World War II. Dang, man. Her Majesty's Service. And he did metal. He was an actor. He was in the greatest trilogy of all time. Not being The Godfather. But gosh dang, man. I mean, let's be real. Lord of the Rings is the best trilogy. Come on, guys. All right, next one. Author Peter S. Beagle showed up at a recording session during the making of this film as Sir Christopher Lee recorded King Haggard's monologue about how only unicorns brought him happiness. Lee begged Beagle for his approval of his vocal performance, offering to record it again if the author found it unsatisfactory. Interesting.
I mean, the performance of that monologue was pretty dope.
Yeah, he was
not gonna
awesome.
lie.
Yeah,
the actual like
dialogue.
Text of the monologue was incomprehensible garbage.
Oh man! Speaking of good actors here, voice actors, Angela Lansbury's first time voice acting in a theatrically released film, which of course she would later to go on to be Mrs. Potts, the teapot in Beauty and the Beast, and the Dowager Empress Marie in Anastasia.
Yeah, she does a good job in this film, to be honest. As far as the voice acting goes, who's not Christopher Lee, I feel like she's the best out of the bunch.
She's the best.
Everyone else,
right after her.
Jeff Bridges is a little below her, and then everyone else is just like,
I don't know. Mia Farrow I really liked her in this, actually. I think.
Was she the unicorn?
Yeah, I think she did pretty all right.
Okay, she wasn't terrible.
Yeah, she wasn't terrible. I think I would put her under Lansbury, but above Jeff Bridges.
I feel like her performance was just a little bit like overwrought.
Yeah, again, that's the direction, I think.
And then also, it's not her fault, but like the heavy, like washed out reverb effect that they applied when like she was just thinking in her head.
Yeah.
Was just like, nah.
Yeah, please stop. Also, her singing was not good.
No.
Not good at all.
It was awful.
It was the same thing with Jeff Bridges. When Jeff Bridges opened his mouth, I'm like, oh.
That's why that quote that, oh my God, they're both singing. That was when she came in.
Yep.
During Jeff Bridges' song, and it was just like my brain couldn't handle it.
All right, we're almost done here. The film did incredibly well in Germany, where it managed to outgrow even Star Wars back then. It had a lavish premiere in a ballroom with many big names of the German film industry attending, all of whom were amazed by the film. Toys and records were hot sellers. Massive posters saying the unicorn is coming were attached to the walls of large buildings in the city of Munich. Interesting. But you know what else is interesting? Sir Christopher Lee provided the voice of King Haggard in the German version of the film.
Oh.
That I want to hear. I want to hear him speak German, dude. That sounds dope. And the last one I got for you is this. A live-action version of the novel has toiled in development hell in quotes over the years. Though it has reached various states of pre-production at times, even at various times throughout the years, Sir Christopher Lee and Angela Lansbury set to reprise their roles. And
Not anymore.
Not anymore, yeah, because as of 2013, ongoing legal disputes stemming from the animated film, coupled with, budgetary issues and various amount of things, have prevented Peter S. Beagle from producing this film. And he even finished a screenplay for it at one point, which isn't saying much. I mean, anybody can finish a screenplay. Anybody can write a screenplay. Doesn't mean it's going to be good. All right, David, what are our final thoughts on The Last Unicorn?
What a wild ride this film was.
This was a lot of fun to watch with you, I'll be honest. It was a good time. The movie, not so much. And do I like it better than Black Cauldron? I have to pause and think about it, actually.
I don't think you could really compare the two. Like, they're bad in completely different ways. Like,
one's like, man, one's more like, whoa.
Yeah, they're just like Black Cauldron is bad because it was like underdone.
Yeah.
And this is bad because it's overdone.
I feel like I'm staring at two pieces of toast. One that was in there and the coils broke down. And now it's like kind of warm and not toasted.
Yeah, it's just like slightly warmed bread.
Yeah.
And then the other one is like a hockey puck, burnt black.
Burnt black that you couldn't even save it even if you scraped it with a knife. And yeah, I kind of think my last thing I'll say on this is I feel like, it's I would say it's perplexingly beautiful in terms of animation. Truly astonishing work, I would say, in that department. But a story with no direction, honestly.
Yeah, the still artwork in this film is phenomenal.
Dude. Oh my God.
The actual movement of the characters is highly bizarre.
It's questionable. Yeah.
But like as far as just the art direction goes, phenomenal.
Yeah. Oh, phenomenal. Dude, the style. Oh my God. Characters seemingly were treated with the same care as the story was treated. And the soundtrack was, man, it was bad. And last thing I'll say is I think this lacks any recognition of being a good classic. I think this is just a classic, but it's not a good classic.
Yeah, I mean, it's a classic in the sense that people put praise on this film.
Yeah,
I don't understand why.
I don't get it.
But for whatever reason, this is like fondly remembered by many people.
I think this is like, because of the animation and the style of it and how, quotes, dark it is, I think people were just super smitten with this film when they saw it. And then they didn't look any deeper.
Yeah, maybe because it was a Rankin Bass production.
Yeah. Just
all the bizarre oddities, just like they just kind of like accepted them.
Yeah.
Is like this is what you get out of this kind of production. So we're not gonna think about, whether it's good or bad.
You want to see a Rankin Bass production with baller ass music? Go watch the 1977 The Hobbit.
I have.
I'm just talking in general.
Okay. I thought you were talking to me.
No. I know you've seen it. You've seen that masterpiece. Like compared to The Last Unicorn, I would say personally, I prefer The Hobbit over Last Unicorn.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen The Hobbit, but I remember The Hobbit. I remember quite liking The Hobbit.
It's good, man. And the music, like the folky 70s style, fits so well with this versus the crappy, cheesy 80s music of America.
Which is funny because America didn't do that style of music.
Yeah. Like we talked about A Horse with No Name.
Yeah, they're like a classic folk rock group from the 70s.
Yeah.
And so why they tried to do music in this style to begin with is beyond me. And also, it's just so crappy.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of, I don't think it's as bad as people say, because obviously his golden era was after this. But I do like the Dreamland Express album by John Denver, the 80s album, which was very 80s. But it still kind of has a little bit of that folk in there. It's a little bit like This America, but it's not at all. It's way better. But again, the Ride on the Dreamland Express. I love that song. I think it's great. It's not his best work. I think John Denver's best work is in the 70s, hands down. But you know what? There's something to appreciate with the 80s style that John Denver has on there.
You know who is a really good example of a 70s folk artist transitioning to the 80s really well is Paul Simon.
Ooh.
Yeah, if you've ever, particularly the album Graceland, so good.
Why do I feel like I sniff a peak analysis happening with that album at some point?
Yeah, we might have to do that.
Yeah. We're just going to start talking about just old rock albums.
I mean,
why
like
not?
Graceland is basically kind of like the reason why like African elements like migrated their way into popular music in the 80s.
Oh, interesting.
Like Graceland like paved the way for all of that basically.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind doing that. I could go for something like that for peak analysis as well. I would like to do, I know we've made it every joke when we've done an album, David, but to finally do a Limp Bizkit album would be hilarious. April Fools, y'all.
Oh my God.
Yeah, wait, we do have a podcast releasing next week on April 1st.
Oh, wow.
I wonder what that would be. It's not going to be what you think.
Yeah, it's not going to be a joke.
Yeah.
I mean,
it might be.
Well, I mean, it won't be a joke any more than our podcast is already a joke as it is.
Yep. There you go. I agree.
So maybe we're the April Fool's joke. Maybe that's what it is.
And rave we must. All right, David, let's get the heck out of here. Unless you have anything final to say about Last Unicorn or Black Cauldron.
Both of those movies suck.
I don't think they're as bad as like Rockadoodle. I think Rockadoodle's worse, man.
Yeah, Rockadoodle's worse.
Yeah.
Rockadoodle is like in its own special level of hell.
Its own circle. Like,
you know, when you go to the ninth circle of hell or whatever in the Divine Comedy, and you got Judas like frozen in a block of ice. In movie hell, it's Rockadoodle frozen in that block of ice.
That's a big rooster frozen in ice. All right, let's get the heck out of here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for listening to us rattle on and wax poetic at times about these two films. What were your thoughts? Share with us down below. If you like this content and want more of it, subscribe. You'll get some more in time. And yes, this may be episode 3 of 2 films, but we just mentioned 2 of them that we've done before. This isn't, there's some ones before we officially titled 2 films. Go look up 2 Don Bluth films and come back and let us know, because you'll find Rockadoodle there. All right, we'll bid you adieu. We'll say farewell. And just like on that Dreamland Express, when you ride along it looking for your love, then unfortunately you see 2 white guys walking to you in the cab. And they're playing there with the guitars and they're saying, "The last unicorn." Please walk the other direction, grab the brake handle, and jump. Oh, and Snarp Fangle on.
Bye-bye now.